I'm Adam Balkin, and welcome to It Ain't Rocket Science, although you might think otherwise if you looked at the most recent math and science scores from U.S. students. That's because among the world's 34 developed nations, the U.S. ranks 17th for science, 25th for math. So at this point, we'd probably need a compass and a Cub Scout just to find our way back into the race. But before the race to the top can get underway, the nation needs to be fully engaged. The president calls it a Sputnik moment, challenging an American public in much the same way John F. Kennedy did some 50 years ago after the Russians got a leg up on our space program as the first nation to launch a man into space. Less than 10 years later, American ingenuity trumped that achievement in spades, but lately there's been a feeling that we've lost our competitive edge both in space and here on the ground. Looking to kickstart a nation more consumed by dancing with the stars than exploring the stars, in late 2009, the Obama administration began to come up with a game plan to not only challenge students, educators, and mentors, but to enlist the help of corporate America. Dozens of companies pledging over $700 million, with Time Warner Cable contributing over $100 million of those dollars in cash and kind over 5 years to support ways of promoting the study of science, technology, and math, not only as a way to be competitive, but to create new jobs in a shrinking economy. For his part, President Obama would become the cheerleader-in-chief, rooting on the success of budding technoids, much the same as you would championship sports teams.
I've had the Lakers here, I've had the Saints here, the Crimson Tide. I thought we ought to do the same thing for the winners of science fairs and robotic contests and math competitions. Because often we don't give these victories the attention that they deserve. You know, when you win first place at a science fair, nobody's rushing the field or dumping Gatorade over your head.
But the experience was no less spine-tingling for those summoned to the White House.
To have like everyday conversation that we would have like at our school, talking about inventions and what we're going to do next and stuff like that, it's just, wow.
Probably best known for his people-moving Segway, but Dean Kamen actually holds more than 100 patents, including one for an insulin pump, one for a portable kidney dialysis machine. But aside from being a lifesaver, he's also a role model, a real inspiration for young scientists and engineers who have found their own field of dreams. For years, Dean Kamen has tried to level the playing field between athletes and mathletes and rockers and robots, how to ignite the same level of excitement around building bots and building an audience around a competition. If you're Dean Kamen, you imitate the existing model and infrastructure, but insert your own discipline, which has been for the last 20 years, math, science, engineering, technology, and all the critical thinking and problem solving you'll need to compete both in the arena and in life.
When you look up at that crowd at a first event, you see all these very, very passionate kids. The one thing that overwhelms you just by sheer laws of large numbers, one of those kids in that arena in 10 or 20 years is going to cure some disease or create some new sustainable form of energy.
With nearly 52,000 students taking part in the first robotics competition every year, the numbers seem to be in his favor, and his corporate collaborations for supplies, sponsorship, and all-around support are growing. Many of the mentors, coaches, and regional directors have been with the program from the beginning. Kamen values a legacy, but works hard to keep the program relevant.
I've got to break the stereotype that a scientist is a middle-aged white male with a German accent and frizzy hair, a sociopath. We've got to convince kids that, you know what, engineers and scientists are beautiful young women and attractive young guys. And they're not antisocial, they're not nerdy and squeaky.
And whenever Kamen comes across an athlete or musician to further his cause, he takes full advantage. Black Eyed Peas frontman will.i.am, taken in by the first program, was on hand for the competition's kickoff this past January in New Hampshire. 3 months later, he brought the band to perform during the finals weekend in St. Louis.
It's important that we shine a light on science being cool so that kids, you know, when you ask a 15-year-old, what do you want to do when you grow up? They don't say, you know, I want to be an actor, I want to be a musician. They want to say, you want them to say, I want to be like Dean Kamen. I want to be a scientist. I want to be an engineer. I want to build robots.
Looks like Dean has found a new disciple to spread the word. With over 40,000 students across the U.S. and from countries around the world, only 3 teams forged into a winning alliance would leave St. Louis's Edward Jones Dome victorious. Carolyn Wagner has the story.
If this was college basketball, the final day of the first robotics competition is like having the Sweet 16, the Final Four, and the championship all played out within a couple of action-packed hours. What started with more than 300 teams by noon was down to 96.
It's just exhilarating, so exciting, just so many teams. I mean, to even be picked in the first time around is just so incredible.
Among the semifinalists, Team 694 from Stuyvesant High School. And even though this is as far as they'd advance, they say they gave it their all and they got plenty in return.
Oh, I've learned so much. It's been a lot of really high stress, and I'm learning how to stay calm and work with the others, you know, and just relax and have fun.
And that stress isn't just robot related. Nothing teaches grace under fire more than playing a high-stakes game in front of tens of thousands of screaming fans.
I mean, I've been to sports games, stuff, but you don't find the kind of energy and the support that you find here. I can't think of anywhere else where I see this kind of positive energy that emanates.
Meanwhile, in the pit, eliminated robots were crated up to be carted home. But for the students, this isn't the end, it's just the beginning. Blaze Barra of Clifton Park will go on to study engineering at Clarkson University, thanks in part to a $12,000 a year scholarship.
Financially, it'll make things a lot easier. I'll be able to attend a university in a program that I really like.
Without First, I don't know where I'd be right now. So I probably wouldn't be going to Stanford for sure.
In the end, one alliance proved strongest. Perennial favorite, the Cheesy Poofs from San Jose, joined forces with some fellow Californians and a team from Illinois to win their first championship title.
We've been waiting a long time for this to happen. It's finally we put a lot of hard work to it, and it's all paid off.
When we come back,
It's pretty simple. It's just density equals mass over volume. That's really it.
now did you get that? Don't worry, that's not going to be on the test. That's just some urban ecologists sampling their world. Stay with us. There's more citizen science ahead when It Ain't Rocket Science continues.